Hello everyone, and welcome to my Shonen production process video. In this video, you're going to get to see me work on an animated series, and matter of fact, in another video I had mentioned that I was going to talk about what that series is that I'm working on. This will be that video today. So, the series that I've been working on is called Oh Snap, and this will be an animated series. And there's other various projects that is made or in the process of being made for this, and I'll go into that a little later. But basically, just to tell you a little bit about what the series is. So, Oh Snap is about these adventurous pirates who sail to sell hair care and skin cosmetic products. The series was created maybe sometime back in 2008. I think that's when I had first came up with the idea. And basically, being as though they sell hair care and skin cosmetic products, the whole series is centered around that theme. For example, the villains are centered around that concept. There's a blind swordswoman named Eyeshadow, who's an actual dare. Eyeshadow, a dare, a female dare. There's a villain named Rinse, who uses 2 giant water guns as his weapon. There's a blob creature named Conditioner. There's a robot named Neutralizer. There will be another villain named Exfoliator. One of the characters is like an arch enemy to one of the good guys who has like these blades on her hands, and her name is Split Ends. And there's a character, a part of the main crew, who uses an illegally modified hair blow dryer as a weapon. So I'll get into that a little more when I go over each of the characters. So the crew, right? The main crew, the heroes of the series. It's these 5 characters who flies around in a giant airship. They fight another gang of pirates called the Ragtag Pirates. The leader of the crew name is Jazz. She wears a mohawk, fights with a katana, and walks around in bedroom slippers. And she got like a whole little, somewhat of like a tribal theme outfit going on. So she's like a mixture of different blends. I want her to have like that cool pop, somewhat 80s, but able to fit in like any type of universe style look up to her. And you know, the slippers are to represent like where I'm from. And you know, in places like North Philly, I would see people like walking around in bedroom slippers. Like that ain't nothing, you know. That was just a chill type of gear. There's QUIRKii. She's the monkey pilot. She's also the chief engineer. There's Bob, the robot, who's like an indoor maintenance machine, but he used to be like a machine used for war and combat. There's Griff, the guy that I was telling you about that uses an illegally modified hair blow dryer as a gun. And Griff is pretty much like the second in command of the crew when Jazz is not around, or you know, for some reason something happened to Jazz. Griff will step up as the second in charge. Then there's Molly. So Molly is pretty much like a model and somewhat of a spokeswoman for the products, and she also handles a little bit of the secretary background work. And yeah, she thinks she's like the star of the show, or she's like very drama queenish, celebrity, conceited type of character. And yeah, she's a sheep. I created this series with a crew called Ground Up Studios. It was people that I went to college with. We kind of put our own company together when we had graduated. And I believe the company kind of started before we graduated, but then, you know, after we was out of school, we had a company together where we was making products and things pertaining to art and illustrations and stuff like that, comics, animations, and so forth. And as far as the characters go, they went through like different variations over time. And that naturally happens with illustrators. Like sometimes you'll create a design for a character, and then, you know, 5 years go by, and then you'll look back at the character and be like, I think I should update the character. So that definitely happened for the Oh Snap series, because I wanted the series to be able to appeal to multiple ages, and they went through some updates and changes over time, which I'm very like satisfied with. There were so many different projects that was made for this series. There was a Kickstarter video. There was there's a couple of animated trailers that were made. We also produced a comic book that we sold at a lot of comic book conventions and various events. And we also had created like a comic strip series for Oh Snap. We also been working on a video game series with a different team aside from Grand Up Studios. So yeah, Oh Snap been in the works for a while, and the series just continued to grow. There's been so many different people that were actually involved in this project, and I'm not going to shout them out in this video. I'll be talking about that in another video, because I'll be naming people all day if I was to go through the names, and I don't want to miss anyone. But there was a lot of people that were somehow involved, whether they invested in it or helped promoted it, supported it, worked on different things for it. And there was people that did fan art for it because they just liked the series so much and they thought the character designs were cool. And yeah, like I said, it's a lot of people that were involved some way, and there's people that's still involved in this series. So I will definitely be giving them recognition and just letting you know who's who and what they're going to be doing or what their jobs are, or what tasks they would have for the series. So just to talk a little bit about the animation that you see me working on here, the process that I go through is I really rough everything out, because the thing about animation is that it takes a lot of time, and especially when you're doing 2D animation, it's difficult for both 3D and 2D animation. But 3D animators go through a whole nother process for when they're animating, and they have to rig characters and move the character around. The good thing about 3D animations is that, you know, once you create a 3D model, for the most part, you can continue to reuse that model. Where 2D animation, you have to redraw the character just to make the character move. And yeah, it's a great and fun thing if you love to animate. Like for me, I only went to school to do 2D animation, because that's just what I grew up in watching, and I was always fascinated with 2D animation. So I do like both 3D and 2D animation, but at heart, I'm the 2D animator. That's just what I'm into. And as you can see in this process, I rough out like the action poses, and then I'll go over, after I like stick figure or basic structure draw everything out, I'll go over everything and just keep tweaking it until it looks clean. And then they'll be ready for inking. So that's my process, and yeah, this animation is coming out to my liking. And the beautiful thing about it is that when you animate, today we have so many different softwares where it makes it easier to do 2D animation. Before, they had to use pencil test machines, and they literally had to draw out each frame on paper first and like test it on the pencil test machine to make sure that it was moving right. And this was like a real long process, and I'm doing everything digitally in Flash, and it just makes the job that much easier, because you know, I don't have to go through each frame putting it under a pencil test machine just to see how somebody wave a hand or something. You know, like the beautiful thing about Flash is that I can just take it back and replay the scene as many times as I want, and then tweak it as I go through it. And that's another thing too about animating. When you animate something, it's not the end all if it doesn't come out right. You can always go in there and fix it up as much as you like. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna share today about this animation that I'm working on. I just wanted y'all to be able to know what it is that I'm working on, because I'm gonna be making more of these videos so you can see my process for animating this Oh Snap animated series. And I'm looking forward to having this done this year, hopefully within the next 2 to 3 months. I'm not gonna give y'all a date, because you know, you give a date, you have to stay true to that date, and people gonna hold you to it. So I'm not gonna give y'all a date, but let's just say that I'm looking to have this done within the next 5 months time range, and you'll be able to watch the series and give your feedback on it. And please feel free to give feedback on what you think about the series and everything. I would like to hear y'all thoughts. Do you think Oh Snap would be a fun series to watch? And if it was, would you watch it? If you enjoyed this video, then hit that like and subscribe button. You can also check out some of my other videos. Feel free to leave a comment or suggestions for future videos you would like to see me do. Thank you for watching, and God bless.